I hired a babysitter, 24 female, for my kids, preschool and toddler, 2 weeks ago. My husband works shifts while I work long hours at the office. So far, we've had no issues till yesterday. I came home at 6 p.m. and noticed the babysitter's wet hair and new clothes. She told me she took a shower after one of the kids spilled milk on her. I was confused and visibly upset, but she tried to reassure me that the kids were fine because my husband watched them while she took her shower, which only lasted for a few minutes. I was more confused that my husband was home when he had a shift to cover. I told her I didn't think it appropriate for her to shower in my home like that. She argued that it was fine and that she had no choice and couldn't leave the milk on her like that. We argued and my husband heard the commotion and got involved. He said it was not as big of a deal as I was making it out to be, but I told the babysitter that I didn't appreciate how she ignored how I felt about this and still dismissed my feelings. She went home, but we still argued on the phone. Finally, she thinks she's done nothing wrong and said that I was being unfair when I mentioned potentially cutting her salary after that. My husband keeps saying I'm overreacting and the poor girl couldn't handle having milk stains on her body and clothes, but I couldn't help but feel it was inappropriate and she should have checked with me. Am I the idiot for my reaction? Just for info, I'm the one who pays her, not my husband. I told her to call or text, always available if anything happened. I didn't even know my husband was home at the time. He said he was feeling a bit sick and swapped shifts with a coworker. I didn't know how big this stain was, but she argued about being covered in milk for 6+ hours. As for the question of why my husband didn't go to work, why exactly should she have called and asked your permission when clearly her husband had already given her permission to take a shower? Someone taking a shower is one of those decisions where both of your opinions need to be thoroughly thought through. Anyways, you're creating drama out of nothing. You are the idiot, and you have no legitimate reason to cut anything off of her salary. You hired a babysitter. Your husband was home at the time when he was supposed to be working. The babysitter went to clean up. I'm seeing a potentially bigger problem here, OP. Is this really about the milk? I feel like in these types of situations, it's more like, no, I definitely trust my husband. It's the other women I don't trust. This is the whole reason OP's upset, but she's only willing to take it out on a presumably younger girl and not talk to her actual husband. Lame. Info. How long has your husband been having an affair with the babysitter? Did he choose to hire her? OP, I don't understand why you're more concerned about her taking a shower than your husband was home with her when he was supposed to be working. If he didn't end up working, why did he keep her there? Even if everything was fine and she just needed a shower after having milk spilled on her, who cares? You sound unhinged for being upset about this. Exactly. The issue is trust. If she trusts her husband, her response should have been something like this. First, tell the babysitter, sorry to hear about the milk. See you next time. The next thing should have been a concern for her husband. How are you feeling right now? Do you think you need to see a doctor? Etc. And if the husband's condition is not serious, perhaps tell him, hey, I wish you had called or texted me that you were staying home sick. I would have checked in on you. OP only subconsciously realizes that her conscious mind hasn't caught on to it yet, but she doesn't trust her husband. Everyone's the idiot here. Hubby for cheating, Sitter for facilitating under another woman's shared roof, and OP for misdirecting her ire. When I was 15, my then 19-year-old stepsister had a baby. She was still living at home at the time and didn't know who her daughter's dad was. So she and my mom decided I would need to babysit every day after school until someone else got home. This continued until I turned 18 and moved out of my mom and stepdad's house and in with my brother. He was the same age as my stepsister. My stepsister and I were never sisters. We never called each other family or had a relationship built on anything. So I never regarded her daughter as my niece, and I never planned to be an overly involved figure. After I moved out, I saw her 3 times in the past 6 years. I didn't have a strong attachment to her, and I certainly never considered her like my own. But my mom and stepsister have hyped me up to her. They've told her all these stories that are simply not true. Stories about me cuddling her to sleep, how I used to call her my little baby, and how I adored her more than anyone else. My mom had taken a few photos of her and me that she had staged at the time. They show her those as if these were moments that my mom had walked in on. So she's been waiting for this aunt figure who considers her their own child. And when we saw each other 3 times this year, primarily focused on the fact that I was having a baby, she was incredibly jealous and angry. The last time was at my grandparents' house. My partner and I were focused on our baby. She was very emotional and trying to grab my attention. This is when what my mom and stepsister had been telling her came to light. She accused me of replacing her, of my baby stealing her place and trying to push her out. She said I used to do all that stuff with her, and now I didn't, and it wasn't fair. She asked my stepsister to get me to do stuff for her again. After some questions, it came to light what she was talking about. She wanted me to dedicate myself to her the way she had been told I had. She wanted me to put her before my child. My grandparents told my stepsister to leave, and after some arguing, she did go with her daughter. They then asked my mom what the heck she'd been thinking and what had happened. This was when my mom called after everyone else had left my grandparents and told me that I needed to talk to my stepsister's daughter and help them fix the hurt that she was going through. I told her it wasn't my job to fix a problem she and my stepsister had created. My mom told me it was about a child, not about them, and I wasn't being very compassionate. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. First, they force you to babysit for 3 years. Then they expect you to be a super aunt and focus solely on the kid? Do I feel bad for the child? Yes. But the mom and stepsister created this fantasy and must deal with it. Furthermore, they want you to be involved in fixing it so they aren't blamed for what they did. I was forced to be responsible for my full sister, which was incredibly unfair. My free time was mostly spent watching her from birth until I left at 18 years old, so 6 years old. And even then, my parents expected me to continue devoting my free time to her care. I'm embarrassed to admit, I did for a few more years. My parents never admitted their expectations were wrong, but they chose to have 4 kids, not me. Your stepsister chose to have a kid, not you. She should have raised her kid. To be honest, I wonder what exactly they expect you to do. Give up your own baby and adopt her? If your tween, roughly, niece is that fixated on an aunt she's hardly seen for most of her life and one she can't remember well, something's wrong in her home. Yes, she needs someone to help her, but that should be a professional. You've done nothing wrong. Of course, it's a bit sad you never formed an actual connection, but that doesn't make you an idiot. My girlfriend, 27, and I, 28 male, have an infant son together. We moved in with her mom when we found out she was pregnant, and we still live there. My girlfriend works a corporate job and is very career-focused. I work for a small business owned by my uncle. Our son is in daycare 4 days a week, and my girlfriend's mom watched him the other day. But like any baby, he gets sick fairly often, and one of us has to stay home with him. My girlfriend had 3 months of maternity leave, and my uncle gave me 10 weeks of half-paid leave. I also get paid time off, but I've already used up all of mine for this year. All my PTO days except for 2 were used to stay home with our son. My wife gets a lot more sick and vacation days than I do. We also have separate finances and are trying to save up money to move out of her mom's place. Over the past couple of weeks, a few nasty bugs have been going around our son's daycare. He's had to stay home for 5 days for the past 2 weeks. I stayed home with him for 4 of those days. Since I don't have any PTO left, I don't get paid for staying home. My uncle is understanding, and my job isn't in jeopardy though, at least not yet. After the last day I stayed home with him, I talked with my girlfriend, and I asked that either she stay home more often with our son when he's sick, or that she pays me for staying home with him because I'm out of PTO. Since our finances are separate, I feel like she's prioritizing her career and her money over our son and me. She got mad and defensive and started ranting about how she already felt marginalized at work because she had had the 3 months of maternity leave. She doesn't want to get looked over for promotions or projects because she's too occupied with our son. She said I would never understand how difficult it is to be a working mother in a corporate setting and the stigma that goes along with it. She said she feels constant pressure to be better than everyone else at work because she doesn't want to be seen as less devoted because she has a kid. She said that her money is our money and that she will not pay me to stay home with our son because it's not her fault that I ran out of PTO. She said we're both still saving money by living with her mom, and since she earns more than I do, she should be the one working more often so that we can move out sooner. She said that women have sacrificed their careers for decades so that men could go to work, and now those times are changing. She thought I was way out of line to even ask such a thing, and that if I wanted to have more money for myself, I could get a part-time job in the evenings when she was done with work. I don't feel like what I asked was so bad to warrant the response she gave me. It made me feel like her career is more important than anything else in her life. Her reaction now worries me that my finances will always be second fiddle to her own. But maybe I was out of line with what I asked for. So am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I would not have worded it as pay me for watching our sick child. Your wording would instantly put most people on the defensive. Explaining that missing 4 days this month means you'll need help with your student loan payment would possibly go over better. A sick child is both of your responsibility. If she can't take PTO without hurting her career, then she needs to cover her responsibility with a financial contribution. If this was a woman who was complaining, everyone would be screaming, not the idiot. But since it's a guy, people are taking offense. If he can't work because he's always staying home and he ran out of PTO, why shouldn't she take some time at home? As mentioned in the post, she has way more PTO than him, and she can handle having a few days at home. You are the idiot. You're living with her mom, which is saving thousands of dollars a month that you would be paying for rent. Her mom is babysitting for free to help keep costs low. Your job is with an uncle who would be more understanding of you taking days off for his grandnephew than her job. Her job would penalize her for missing too much work. That ranges from firing her to not giving her raises and promotions. She makes significantly more than you do, so her losing her job would hit the family harder than losing yours, which you said wouldn't happen because you work for an uncle. If you want to work, you can pay a sitter together to watch the boys, versus telling her to stay home or asking for compensation. You are a parent and shouldn't feel like you need to get paid to watch your own kid. If you did, that would be babysitting. My female 31, brother 33, got married days ago. He and his now wife sent me an invitation and mentioned a no +1 rule. I wasn't allowed to bring my wheelchair-bound boyfriend of 4 years with me. I tried to discuss an exception to this rule because, for one, my boyfriend is family, and no one would deny that fact. And two, I couldn't find proper arrangements to have someone watch him. I'm his primary caregiver while I was gone. I brought him with me to the wedding. My brother and his wife were livid and argued with me about it. My brother said some hurtful stuff, but I was glad he didn't say it in front of my boyfriend. I told him it wasn't like my boyfriend was making a fuss or being distracting. He just remained quiet and respectful of everyone around him. My brother argued that none of that mattered, and that his trust and respect for me were gone the minute I decided to stomp on his wedding boundaries and override the rules. My parents understood my side, but also said it was my brother's wedding, and I should have respected his rule for non-official couples. We've not been talking since the wedding. I've tried calling him but kept getting hung up on. His wife texted me yesterday to stop calling. Am I the idiot? It's not like I brought a hyperactive child to the wedding. I think he might have overreacted, but I'm not sure. OP, he said no +1s. If you found that disrespectful to your relationship, or simply impractical, then your option was to decline your invitation and stay home, not have your boyfriend crash the party because you decided that wouldn't be overly disruptive. You are the idiot. Not only did you go against a rule, you attempted to use your boyfriend's disability to get your way. You should be ashamed. Ugh, a guy in a wheelchair here? Although I'm fully self-sufficient, this makes me feel for your boyfriend. Not only did you disrespect your brother's wishes, but you also made your boyfriend the center of more attention than was warranted. You say he remained quiet and respectful. He probably was quiet because he wanted to crawl under a rock. Hey, look at me. I'm the cause at strife at a wedding through no fault of my own. Is your boyfriend an adult? If he needs personal assistance, Why isn't he the one arranging that while you're gone? And why do you refer to personal assistants as watching him, like you're getting a babysitter? Did your boyfriend even want to go? Why isn't what he thought or wanted a factor in this story at all? Why do you generally talk about him like he's a child? This was my thought process as well. OP doesn't speak about their boyfriend like an adult partner at all. The wording is very peculiar. Honestly, everyone sucks here. Them for not inviting your boyfriend of 4 years, and you for bringing him against their wishes. Personally, I wouldn't have gone at all if my long-term partner wasn't invited. I, 20 female, was recently shopping at a small convenience store when a lady came in. She had twins. She picked up 4 small bags of diapers and placed them on a counter when the man said she could only buy 1. They got into a pretty heated argument, and she screamed that 1 pack of diapers wasn't going to be enough for her twins. I felt bad for her, so I decided to loop around to the diaper section and buy another pack for her. I managed to catch up to her and handed her the diapers, and she proceeded to thank me. Still, I felt like twins and the small 2 packs of diapers wasn't enough. I asked her if she'd walk with me to Target so she could pick out some more diapers for her babies, and she said yes. In Target, she picked up a box of newborn-sized diapers and I paid for them. She felt pretty bad that I'd spent so much money on diapers just for her, but I honestly didn't mind. Fast forward, my boyfriend said I shouldn't have done this, as I've wasted over $30 on a stranger, but he spent more than $30 this month on video game currencies. I told him if I was ever in a position the woman was in, I'd want someone to do the same. Not only that, but parents have to scrape the barrel these days to get formula and diapers because they're so expensive for 1 baby. Imagine how expensive it is for people with more than 1 baby. Still, my boyfriend's calling me an idiot for spending money on a total stranger. The money used was all my money from my wages at work. I had already paid my share of the monthly bills and rent, and was out shopping for things needed at the apartment when the altercation with the woman occurred. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot, but I'm hoping you already know that deep down, cause what did I just read? How could you possibly be an idiot for helping someone who genuinely needed it and was grateful and thankful for it? You probably made her whole week. And come on, man, it was $30. To make someone's life instantly better? You go, girl. Now, moving on to the very much real issue, your boyfriend. How? How? Is he possibly calling you an idiot for this? Did he want you to buy him dinner? Does he feel like you made the woman feel inadequate? Does he feel inadequate for not being as kind as you? He should. He's shown that he's not a kind person deep down. Listen and believe him. Remember this. Is your boyfriend always so controlling about your money? All I'm hearing is, how could you use your own money to help out someone that isn't me when I might have wanted it? Your boyfriend is not entitled to your money or how you spend it. It is your money, not our money. Your man lacks empathy. Is this trait something you can live with in your relationship?